You ever notice how the scariest stories aren't the ones with monsters in them? They're the ones where it's just a regular person on a regular day and something inside them just snaps. Welcome back to Paws&Clues with Ajax. Tonight I've got 5 stories for you, all out of China, and every single one of them starts the exact same way. Completely normal. A meal, a bus ride, a walk in the park. And every single one of them ends in a place nobody saw coming. Let's get into it. The noodle shop. 22-year-old Hu Zedong needed a job. 2 days before anything happened, he walked into a small chicken restaurant near Wuhan's Wuchang train station and asked if they were hiring. They gave him a trial shift. At some point during that shift, he tried to borrow 200 yuan, about $30, from one of the staff. They turned him down. He didn't take it well, and out of nowhere, he got it into his head that someone there had gone through his bag. That's when he pulled a small knife from the shop. Nobody was hurt, and when police showed up, they mediated the dispute on the spot and sent him on his way, which was the end of that job. What nobody there knew was that Hu had previously spent time in psychiatric care, diagnosed with a mental disability alongside a psychiatric disorder, and had since been issued a disability certificate for it. 2 days later, it was the middle of the lunch rush at a noodle shop just down the road, run by a man named Yao. Hu walked in and asked him the same question. "You hiring?" Yao was mid-rush, slammed with customers and turned him down without much thought. Hu didn't push back. He sat down, ordered a bowl of noodles, ate the whole thing, and paid like any other customer. Then, instead of walking out the front door, he walked into the kitchen and picked up a cleaver. He came back out and went straight at Yao, catching him first across the leg. Yao tried to run, made it out into the street, and Hu followed, still swinging. By the time it was over, the blade had come down across his neck, and there was no question after that of him surviving, right there in front of a crowd that had gathered but couldn't bring themselves to step in. About 50 emergency calls came in within minutes. Hu didn't run. He took a wallet holding a little over 3,600 yuan, somewhere around $545 off Yao's body, and stayed right there at the scene until police showed up and arrested him on the spot. At trial, doctors testified that Hu understood what he was doing, even if his judgment was impaired. Enough to hold him responsible, not enough to excuse him. In 2018, he was convicted of murder and theft and sentenced to death, with a 2-year reprieve. The number 22 bus. On the morning of October 28, 2018, a dashcam on a bridge over the Yangtze River in Chongqing caught a city bus suddenly swerve across the center line, clip a red sedan, blow through the barrier, and drop about 165 feet into the river. The whole thing happened in about 10 seconds. The road was clear, the weather was fine, and the bus hadn't been speeding. So with no explanation, the public went looking for someone to blame and landed on the driver of that red sedan. Her name and photo spread across Chinese social media, while people accused her of causing the crash. She hadn't done anything. It took investigators several days to pull the bus out of the river, and inside the wreckage, investigators recovered footage from the bus's interior surveillance camera, revealing the struggle beside the driver that had caused the crash. A 48-year-old woman named Liu had missed her stop. When she realized, she went to the front of the bus and demanded he stop and let her off immediately. He told her he couldn't stop mid-route. She wasn't having it. For more than 5 minutes, the two of them argued, her standing right over him while he drove. Then she threw the first hit, ran, fought back, and within seconds of that fight breaking out, the bus crossed into oncoming traffic, hit the red sedan, and went through the barrier into the river. 15 people were aboard the bus. 13 bodies were recovered, while 2 people were never found. No one from the bus was known to have survived. The woman driving the red sedan survived, and she had done nothing to cause the crash. The bus stop. This one's over in under a minute. Evening of July 23, 2013, a 39-year-old man named Han Lei, who'd been drinking for hours, got out of a car near a bus stop in Beijing, where a woman surnamed Lee was waiting with her 2-year-old daughter in a stroller. He wanted the spot to park and told her to move. She wouldn't. This was a bus stop, she said, and she had every right to be standing there. The argument escalated fast. It ended with Han knocking the mother to the ground and turning on the little girl next. What happened to the child in those next few seconds isn't something worth spelling out, only that it was enough to send her to the hospital in critical condition. Then Han calmly got back in the car, and the driver, Li Ming, drove them both away. The little girl held on for 2 days before she died. What made this one even harder to sit with was who Han Lei actually was. He'd only been out of prison for about 10 months, released early after serving 16 years of a life sentence for car theft. At trial, he claimed he'd been too drunk to know what he was doing, that in his head, he thought he'd grabbed a shopping cart, not a child. The court didn't accept a word of it. In September 2013, he was sentenced to death. His appeal failed 2 months later, and on October 31st, 2014, the sentence was carried out. Li Ming, who drove him away that night, got 5 years. The next one's a little different. Not because it's any less brutal, but because this one's still unfolding. Nobody yet knows how it legally ends. The security guard. Inside a residential compound in Fangchenggang, Guangxi, a couple surnamed Li and Wang kept parking their vehicle somewhere they weren't supposed to, and after being warned more than once, the security guard on duty, a man named Chen, locked it in place so it couldn't be moved. The next day, the couple found it locked and went straight to him about it. He unlocked it to smooth things over, and they walked off, then turned around, came back to his post, and started throwing rocks at him. Chen backed into the security office. They kept coming. Cornered and getting hit, he grabbed a knife, and by the time it stopped, both Li and Wang were dead. What police have actually confirmed is narrower than that. An argument between Chen and the couple escalated. Chen used a knife, and both Li and Wang died of their injuries. Chen didn't run. When officers arrived, he was still right there, and he was taken into custody on the spot. As of now, there's still no public ruling on the case, so what exactly happened in those final moments, and what happens to Chen next, both remain open questions. The Garden. The Bada Shanren Meihu Scenic Area in Nanchang is a lakeside park full of old-style pavilions and stone bridges, about as peaceful a place as you could ask for. On the afternoon of August 10th, 2025, 2 friends, 19-year-old Liu, a university student, and a young woman named Shi, showed up dressed in flowing traditional Hanfu for a day of photos. A 23-year-old man named Shi approached them and tried to get Liu's number. She turned him down. Within moments of that, Shi pulled out a pair of scissors and attacked both women. Liu didn't survive. Shi was seriously hurt but pulled through. Police picked Shi up that same day, and it came out he had a documented history of psychiatric treatment. As of now, there's still no public court ruling on his case. What stays with people isn't the legal side of it at all. It's 2 friends who put on their favorite outfits for a nice afternoon by the water, and only one of them made it home. 5 stories, 5 completely ordinary places, and in every single one, the person who walked in wasn't the same person who walked out. Which leaves the one question none of them got to answer in time. When anger like that shows up, what actually stops it from ending the way theirs did? Thanks for watching Paws and Clues with Ajax. Until next time, keep following the clues. I'll see you in the next one.